Night the 4th. Night the 4th, the Christian Triumph, containing our only cure for the fear of death and proper sentiments of heart on that inestimable blessing. Humbly inscribed to the Honourable Mr. York. A much indebted muse, O York, intrudes, amid the smiles of fortune and of youth. Thine ear is patient of his serious song. How deep implanted in the breast of man the dread of death? I sing its sovereign cure. Why start at death? Where is he? Death arrived is past. Not come or gone, he's never here. Ere hope, sensation fails, black boding man receives, not suffers, death's tremendous blow. The knell, the shroud, the mattock and the grave, the deep damp vault, the darkness and the worm, these are the bugbears of a winter's eve, the terrors of the living, not the dead. Imagination's fool and error's wretch, man makes a death which nature never made. Then on the point of his own fancy falls, and feels 1,000 deaths, in fearing one. But with death frightful, what has age to fear? If prudent, age should meet the friendly foe, and shelter in his hospitable gloom. I scarce can meet a monument, but holds my younger. Every date cries, come away. And what recalls me? Look the world around, and tell me what? The wisest cannot tell. Should any born of woman give his thought full range, on just dislikes unbounded field of things, the vanity of men, the flaws in the best, the many, flaw all over, as leopards spotted, or as Aethiops dark, vivacious, ill, good dying immature, how immature, Narcissus' marble tells, and at its death bequeathing endless pain, his heart, though bold, would sicken at the sight, and spend itself in sighs for future scenes. But grant to life, and just it is to grant to lucky life, some perquisites of joy. A time there is when, like a thrice-told tale, long-rivalled life as sweet can yield no more. But from our comment on the comedy, pleasing reflections and parts well sustained, or purposed emendations where we failed, or hopes of planned out from our candid judge, when, on their exit, souls are bid unrobe, tust fortune back her tinsel and her plume, and drop this mask of flesh behind the scene. With me that time has come. My world is dead. A new world rises, and new manners reign. Foreign comedians, a spruce band, arrive to push me from the scene, or hiss me there. What a pert race starts up! The strangers gaze, and I at them. My neighbour is unknown, nor that the worst. Ah me, the dire effect of loitering here, of death defrauded long, of old so gracious, and let that suffice. My very master knows me not. Shall I dare say, peculiar is the fate? I've been so long remembered, and forgot. An object ever pressing dims the sight, and hides behind its ardour to be seen. When in his courtiers' ears I pour my plaint, they drink it as the nectar of the great, and squeeze my hand and beg me come tomorrow. Refusal. Canst thou wear a smoother form? Indulge me, nor conceive I drop my theme. Who cheapens life, abates the fear of death. Twice told the period spent on stubborn Troy, court favour, yet untaken, I besiege. Ambition's ill-judged effort to be rich. Alas, ambition makes my life a little less, embittering the possessed. Why wish for more? Wishing of all employments is the worst. Philosophy's reverse, and health's decay. Were I as plump as stalled theology, wishing would wake me to this shade again. Were I as wealthy as a South Sea dream, wishing is an expedient to be poor. Wishing, that constant hectic of a fool, caught at a court, purged off by purer air and simpler diet, gifts of rural life. Blessed be that hand divine, which gently laid my heart at rest beneath this humble shed. The world's a stately bark on dangerous seas, with pleasures seen, but boarded at our peril. Here, on a single plank, thrown safe ashore, I hear the tumult of the distant throng, as that of seas remote or dying storms, and meditate on scenes more silent still. pursue my theme, and fight the fear of death. Here, like a shepherd gazing from his hut, touching his reed or leaning on his staff, eager ambition's fiery chase I see the circling hunt of noisy men, burst law's enclosure, leap the mounds of right, pursuing and pursued each other's prey, as wolves for rapine, as the fox for wiles, till death, that mighty hunter, earths them all. Why all this toil for triumphs of an hour? What, though we wade in wealth or soar in fame, earth's highest station ends in here he lies, and dust to dust concludes her noblest song. If this song lives, posterity shall know one, though in Britain born, with courtiers bred, who for even gold might come a day too late, nor on his subtle deathbed planned his scheme for future vacancies in church or state, some avocation deeming it to die. Unbit by rage, canine of dying rich, guilt's blunder, and the loudest laugh of hell. O my coevals, remnants of yourselves, poor human ruins, tottering over the grave, shall aged men, like aged trees, strike deeper their vile root, and closer cling, still more enamoured of this wretched soil? Shall our pale, withered hands be still stretched out, trembling at once with eagerness and age, with avarice and convulsions, grasping hard, grasping at air, for what has earth beside? Man wants but little, nor that little long. How soon must he resign his very dust, which frugal nature lent him for an hour? Years inexperienced rush on numerous ills, and soon as man, expert from time, has found the key of life, it opes the gates of death. When in this vale of years I backward look, and miss such numbers too of such, firmer in health, and greener in their age, and stricter on their guard, and fitter far to play life's subtle game, I scarce believe I still survive. And am I fond of life? Who scarce can think it possible I live, alive by miracle, or, what is next, alive by meed? If I am still alive, who long have buried what gives life to live? Firmness of nerve, and energy of thought. Life's lee is not more shallow than impure, and vapid, sense and reason shew the door. Call for my beer, and point me to the dust. O thou great arbiter of life and death, nature's immortal, immaterial sun, whose all-prolific beam late called me forth from darkness, teeming darkness, where I lay, the worms inferior, and, in rank, beneath the dust I tread on, high to bear my brow, to drink the spirit of the golden day, and triumph in existence, and couldn't know no motive but my bliss, and hast ordained arise in blessing, with the patriarch's joy, thy call I follow to the land unknown. I trust in thee, and know in whom I trust, or life or death is equal, neither ways, all wait in this. O let me live to thee, through nature's terrors thus may be repressed, still frowns grim death, guilt points a tyrant's spear, and, hence all human guilt, from death forgot. Ah me, too long I've set at naught the swarm of friendly warnings, which around me flew, and smiled unsmitten. Shall my essence to smile? Death's admonitions, like shafts upward sure, more dreadful by delay. The longer care they strike our hearts, the deeper is their wound. Oh, think how deep, Lorenzo, here it stings. Who can appease its anguish? How it burns! What hand the barbed, envenomed fork can draw? What healing hand can pour the balm of peace, and turn my sight undaunted on the tomb? With joy, with grief, that healing hand I see, ah, too conspicuous. It is fixed on high, on high? What means my frenzy? I blaspheme. Alas, how low, how far beneath the skies it formed, and it now bleeds for me, but bleeds the balm I want, yet still it bleeds. Draw the dire steel, ah no, the dreadful blessing, what heart or can sustain, or dare forego? There hangs all human hope, that nail supports the falling universe, that gone, we drop. Horror receives us, and the dismal wish creation had been smothered in her birth, darkness his curtain, and his bed the dust. When stars and sun are dust beneath his throne, in heaven itself can such indulgence dwell? Oh, what a groan was there, a groan not his. He seized our dreadful right, the load sustained, and heaven heaved the mountain from a guilty world. 1,000 worlds so bought were bought too dear. Sensations new in angels' bosom rise, suspend their song, and make a pause in bliss. Oh, for their song to reach my lofty theme, inspire me, night, with all thy tuneful spheres, inspire, whilst I with seraphs share seraphic themes, and show to men the dignity of man, lest I blaspheme my subject with my song. Shall pagan pages glow celestial flame, and Christians languish? On our hearts, not heads, falls the foul infamy. My heart, awake! What can awake thee, unawaked by this? Expended deity on human will, feel the great truths which burst the tenfold night of heathen error, with a golden flood of endless day. To feel is to be fired, and to believe, Lorenzo, is to feel. Thou most indulgent, most tremendous power, still more tremendous for thy wondrous love. Thy arms with awe more awful thy commands, and soul transgression dips in few a fold night. How our hearts tremble at thy love immense, in love immense, inviolably just. Thou, rather than thy justice should be stained, didst stain the crass, and of wonders far the greatest, that thy dearest far might bleed. Bold thought, shall I dare speak it, or repress? Should man more execrate, or beast, the guilt which roused such vengeance, which such love inflamed over guilt? How mountainous, with outstretched arms, stern justice, and soft smiling love embrace, supporting in full majesty thy throne, when seemed its majesty to need support, or that, or man inevitably lost. What but the fathomless of thought divine could labour such expedient from despair, and rescue both rescue, both exalt? Oh, how are both exalted by the deed, the wondrous deed, or shall I call it more, a wonder in omnipotence itself, a mystery no less to gods than men. Not thus are infidels the eternal draw, a God all over, consummate, absolute, full orbed, in his whole round of rays complete. They set at odds, having just jarring attributes, and, with one excellence, another wound, maim heaven's perfection, break its equal beams, bid mercy triumph over God himself, undeified by their opprobrious praise. A God all mercy is a God unjust. Ye brainless wits, ye baptized infidels, ye worse for mending, washed to fouler stains, the ransom was paid down, the fund of heaven, heaven's inexhaustible, exhausted fund, amazing and amazed, poured forth the price, all price beyond. Though curious to compute, archangels failed to cast the mighty sum. Its value vast, ungrasped by minds create, forever hides and glows in the supreme. And was that ransom paid? It was, and paid what can exalt the bounty more for you. The sun beheld it. No, the shocking scene drove back his chariot. Midnight veiled his face. Not such as this, not such as nature makes. A midnight nature shuddered to behold. A midnight new, a dread eclipse, without opposing spheres, from her creator's frown. Sun, didst thou fly thy maker's pain, or start at that enormous load of human guilt which bowed his blessed head, overwhelmed his crown, made groan the centre, burst earth's marble womb, with pangs, strange pangs, delivered of her dead? Hell howled, and heaven that hour let fall a tear. Heaven wept that men might smile, heaven bled that men might never die. And is devotion virtue? 'Tis compelled. What heart of stone but glows at thoughts like these? Such contemplations mount us, and should mount the mind still higher, nor ever glance on man, unraptured, uninflamed. Where roll my thoughts, to rest from wonders? Other wonders rise, and strike wherever they roll. My soul is caught. Heaven's sovereign blessings clustering from the crown rush on her in a throng, and close her round, the prisoner of a maze. In his blessed life I see the path, and in his death the price, and in his great ascent the proof supreme of immortality. And did he rise? Hear, O ye nations, hear it, O ye dead. He rose, He burst the bars of death. Lift up your heads, ye everlasting gates, and give the King of glory to come in. Who is the King of glory? He who left his throne of glory for the pang of death. Lift up your heads, ye everlasting gates, and give the King of glory to come in. Who is the King of glory? He who slew the ravenous foe that gorged all human race. The King of glory, he whose glory filled heaven with amazement at his love to man, and with divine complacency beheld powers most illumined wilder in the theme. The theme, the joy, how then shall man sustain? O the burst gates, crushed sting, demolished throne, last gasp of vanquished death, shall earth and heaven, this arm son of good to man, whose nature then took wing and mounted with him from the tomb. Then I rose, then first humanity, triumphant past the crystal ports of light, stupendous guest, and seized eternal youth, seized in our name. Ever since, 'tis blasphemous to call man mortal. Man's mortality was then transferred to death, and heaven there unalienably sealed to this frail frame, this child of dust. Man, all immortal, hail, hail, heaven, all lavish of strange gifts to man, thine all the glory, man's the boundless bliss. Where am I wrapped by this triumphant theme? On Christian joy's exulting wing, above the Ionian mountain. Alas, small cause for joy. What if to pain immortal, if extreme of being, to preclude a close of woe? Where then my heart of immortality? I boast it still, though covered o'er with guilt. For guilt, not innocence, his life he poured. 'Tis guilt alone can justify his death, nor that, unless his death can justify, relenting guilt is heaven's indulgent sight. If, sick of folly, I relent, he writes my name in heaven with that inverted sphere, a spear deep dipped in blood, which pierced his side, and opened there a font for all mankind who strive, who combat crimes, to drink and live. This, only this, subdues the fear of death. And what is this? Survey the wondrous cure, and at each step let higher wonder rise. Pardon for infinite offence, and pardon through means that speak its value infinite. A pardon bought with blood divine of him I made my feel, befitted to provoke, through wooed and awed, blessed and chastised, a fragrant rebel still, a rebel midst the thunders of his throne, nor I alone, a rebel universe, my species up in arms, not one exempt, yet for the foulest of the foul he dies, most joyed, for the redeemed from deepest guilt, as if ere race were held of highest rank, and Godhead dearer, as more kind to man. Round every heart and every bosom burn, oh what a scale of miracles is here, its lowest round, high planted on the skies, its towering summit lost beyond the thought of man or angel. Oh, that I could climb the wondrous ascent with equal praise. Praise, flow forever, if admonishes will give thee leave. My praise, for I ever flow, praise, ardent, cordial, constant, to high heaven more fragrant than Arabia sacrificed, and all her spicy mountains in a flame. So dear, so due to heaven, shall praise descend with her soft plume from plaintive angel's wing, first plucked by man to tickle mortal ears, thus diving in the pockets of the great. Is praise the perquisite of every poor, through black as hell, that grapples well for gold? O love of gold, thou meanest of amours, shall praise her odours waste on virtues dead, embalm the base, perfume the stench of guilt, earn dirty bread by washing Ethiop's fair, removing filth, or sinking it from sight, a scavenger in scenes where vacant posts, like gibbets yet untenanted, expect their future ornaments. From courts and thrones return apostate praise, thou vagabond, thou prostitute, to thy first love return, thy first, thy greatest, once unrivalled theme. There flow redundant, like meander flow, back to thy fountain, to that parent power, who gives the tongue to sound, the thought to soar, the soul to be. Men homage pay to men, thoughtless beneath whose dreadful eye they bow, in mutual awe profound, of clay to clay, of guilt to guilt, and turn their backs on thee, great Sire, whom thrones celestial ceaseless sing, to prostrate angels, an amazing scene. Oh, the presumption of man's author, man's author, end, restorer, law, and judge. Thine, all day, thine, and thine this gloom of night, with all her wealth, with all her radiant worlds. What night eternal but a frown from thee? What heaven's meridian glory but thy smile? And shall not praise be thine, not human praise, while heaven's high host on hallelujahs live? Oh, may I breathe no longer than I breathe my soul in praise to him who gave my soul and all her infinite of prospect fair, cut through the shades of hell, great love. By thee, O most adorable, most unadored, where shall that praise begin, which nay should end? Where I turn, what claim on all applause? How is night's sable mantle laboured o'er? How richly wrought with attributes divine? What wisdom shines, what love, this midnight pomp, this gorgeous arch, with golden worlds inlaid, built with divine ambition, naught to thee, for others is profusion. Thou apart, above, beyond. O tell me, mighty mind, where art thou? Shall I dive into the deep, call to the sun, or ask the roaring winds for their creator? Shall I question loud the thunder, if in that the Almighty dwells? Or halt he furious storms in straitened reins, and bids fierce whirlwinds wheel his rapid car? What means these questions? Trembling I retract. My prostrate soul adores the present God. Praise I a distant deity? He tunes my voice, if tuned. The nerve that writes, sustains, wrapped in his being, I resound his praise. But though past all diffused, without a shore, his essence, local to his throne, as meet to gather the dispersed, as standards call the lifted from afar, to fix a point, a central point, collective of his sons, since finite every nature but his own, the nameless he, whose nod is nature's birth, and nature's shield, the shadow of his hand, her dissolution, his suspended smile. The great first last, pavilion high he sits, in darkness, from excessive splendour born, by gods unseen, unless through lustre lost, his glory, to created glory, bright, as that to central horrors, he looks down on all that soars and spans immensity. Through sight unnumbered worlds unfolds to view boundless creation. What art thou? A beam, a mere effluvium of his majesty. And shall an atom of this atom world mutter, in dust and sin, the theme of heaven? Down to the centre should I send my thought, through beds of glittering ore, and glowing gems, their beggared blaze once lustre for my lay, goes out in darkness, if on towering wing I send it through the boundless vault of stars. The stars, though rich, what dross their gold to thee, great, good, wise, wonderful, eternal King? If to those conscious stars thy throne around, praise ever pouring, and imbibing bliss, and ask their strain, they want it, more they want, pour their abundance, humble their sublime, languid their energy, their ardour cold, indebted still, their highest rapture burns, short of its mark, defective, though divine. Still more, this theme is man's, and man's alone. Their vast appointments reach it not. They see on earth's a bounty not indulged on high, and downward look for heaven's superior praise. Firstborn of ether, high in fields of light, view man, to see the glory of your God. Could angels envy? They had envied here, and some did envy, and the rest, though gods, yet still gods, unredeemed, their triumphs man tempted to weigh the dust against the skies. They less would feel, the more adorn my theme. They sung creation, for in that they shared, how rose in melody the child of love. Creation's great superior, man is thine, thine is redemption, they just gave the key. 'Tis thine to raise and eternize the song, though human, yet divine, for should not this raise man or man, and kindle seraphs here? Redemption, 'twas creation more sublime, redemption, 'twas the labour of the skies, far more than labour, it was death in heaven, a truth so strange, 'twixt here to think it true, if not far bolder still, to disbelieve. Here, pause and ponder. Was there death in heaven? What then on earth? On earth, which struck the blow? Who struck it? Who? Oh, how is man enlarged, seen through this medium? How the pygmy towers, how counterpoised his origin from dust, how counterpoised to dust his sad return, how voided his vast distance from the skies, how near he presses on the seraph's wing. Which is the seraph? Which is the born of clay? How this demonstrates, through the thickest cloud of guilt and clay, condemns the Son of heaven, the double Son, the made and the remade. And shall heaven's double property be lost? Man's double madness only can destroy. To man the bleeding cross has promised all. The bleeding cross has sworn eternal grace. Who gave his life, what grace shall he deny? O ye, who from this rock of ages leap, disdainful, plunging headlong in the deep, what cordial joy, what consolation strong, whatever winds arise, or billows roll, our interest in the matter of the storm, cling there, and in wrecked nature's ruin smile, while vile apostates tremble in a calm. Man, know thyself, all wisdom centres there. To none man seems ignoble, but to man. Angels that grandeur, men o'erlook, admire. How long shall human nature be their book, degenerate, mortal, and unread by thee? The beam dim reason sheds shews wonders there. What high contents, illustrious faculties, but the grand comment, which displays at full our human height, scarce severed from divine, by heaven composed, was published on the cross. Who looks on that, and sees not in himself an awful stranger, a terrestrial God, a glorious partner with the deity, in that high attribute, immortal life? If a God bleeds, he bleeds not for a worm. I gaze, and as I gaze, my mounting soul catches strange fire, eternity, at thee, and drops the world, or rather more enjoys. How changed the face of nature, how improved! What seemed a chaos shines a glorious world, or, what a world, an Eden, heightened all. It is another scene, another self, and still another as time rolls along, and that self far more illustrious still, beyond long ages, yet rolled up in shades, unpierced by bold conjecture's keenest ray. What evolutions of surprising fate! How nature opens and receives my soul in boundless walks of raptured thought, where gods encountered and embraced me. What new births of strange adventure, foreign to the sun, where what now charms, perhaps whatever exists, old time and fair creation, are forgot. Is this extravagant? Of man we form extravagant conception, to be just. Conception unconfined wants wings to reach him. Beyond its reach, the Godhead only, more he, the greater Father, kindled at one flame the world of rationals. One spirit poured from spirit's awful fountain, poured himself through all their souls, but not in equal stream, profuse or frugal, of the inspiring God, as his wise plan demanded. And when past their various trials, in their various spheres, if they continue rational, as made, resorbs them all into himself again, his throne their centre, and his smile their crown. Why doubt we then the glorious truth to sing, though yet unsung, as deemed perhaps too bold? Angels are men of a superior kind. Angels are men in lighter habit clad, high over celestial mountains winged in flight. And men are angels, loaded for an hour, who wade this miry vale, and climb with pain and slippery step the bottom of the steep. Angels in their failings, mortals have their praise, while here, of corpse ethereal, such enrolled, and summoned to the glorious standard soon, which flames eternal crimson through the skies. Not are our brothers thoughtless of their kin, yet absent, but not absent from their love. Michael has fought our battles, Raphael sung our triumphs, Gabriel on our errands flown, sent by the Sovereign. And are these, O man, thy friends, thy warm allies? And thou, shame burn thy cheek to cinder, rival to the brute? Religions all, descending from the skies to wretched man, the goddess in her left holds out this world, and in her right the next. Religion, the sole voucher man is man, support a soul of man above himself. Even in this night of frailty, change, and death, she gives the soul a soul that acts a god. Religion, providence, an after-state, Here is a firm footing, here is solid rock. This can support us, all is sea besides, sinks under us, bestorms, and then devours. His hand the good man fastens on the skies, and bids earth roll, not feels her idle whirl. As when a wretch from thick, polluted air, darkness and stench and suffocating damps and dungeon horrors, by kind fate discharged, climbs from some fair eminence where ether pure surrounds him, and Elysian prospects rise, his heart exults, his spirit casts their load as if newborn, he triumphs in the change. So joys the soul, when from inglorious aims and sordid sweets, from feculence and froth of ties terrestrial, set at large, she mounts to reason's region her own element, breathes hopes immortal, and affects the skies. Religion, thou the soul of happiness, and groaning Calvary of thee, there shine the noblest truths, there strongest motives sting, there sacred violence assaults the soul, there nothing but compulsion is forborne. Can love allure us, or can terror awe? He weeps. The falling drop puts out the sun. He sighs. The sigh earth's deep foundation shakes. If, in his love, so terrible, what then is wrath inflamed, his tenderness on fire, like soft, smooth oil outblazing other fires? Can prayer, can praise avert it? Thou, my all, my theme, my inspiration, and my crown, my strength in age, my rise in low estate, my soul's ambition, pleasure, wealth, my world, my light in darkness, bliss through eternity, eternity too short to speak thy praise, or fathom thy profound of love to man of men the meanest, e'en to me, my sacrifice, my God, what things are these? What then art thou? By what name shall I call thee? Knew I the name devout archangels use? Devout archangels should the name enjoy. By thee unrivalled, thousands more sublime, none half so dear as that which, though unspoke, still glows at heart. Oh, how omnipotence is lost in love! Thou great philanthropist, father of angels, but the friend of man, like Jacob, fondest of the younger born, thou who didst save him, snatch the smoking brand from out the flames, and quench it in thy blood, how art thou pleased by bounty to distress, to make us groan beneath our gratitude, too big for birth, to savour and confound, to challenge and to distance or return, of lavish love's stupendous heights to soar, and leave praise panting in the distant vale. Thy right, too, great, defrauds thee of thy due, and sacrilegious our sublimest song. But since the naked will obtains thy smile, beneath this monument of praise unpaid, and future light symphonous to my strain, that noblest hymn to heaven, for ever lie entombed my fear of death, and every fear, the dread of every evil, but thy frown. Whom see I yonder, so demurely smile, laughter a labour, and might break their rest, ye quietists, in homage to the skies, serene, of soft address, who mildly make an unobtrusive tender of your hearts, abhorring violence, who balked indeed, but for the blessing wrestle not with heaven. Think you my song too turbulent, too warm? Are passions then the pagans of the soul? Reason alone baptized, alone ordained to touch things sacred. Oh, for warmer still! Guilt chills my zeal, and age benumbs my powers. Oh, for a humbler heart and prouder song! Thou, my much endured theme, with that soft eye which melted o'er doomed Salem, deign to look compassion to the coldness of my breast, and pardon to the winter in my strain. O ye cold-hearted, frozen formalists! On such a theme 'tis impious to be calm. Passion is reason, transport temper. Here shall heaven, which gave us ardour, and has shown her own for man so strongly, not disdain what smooth emollients in theology, recumbent virtues downy doctors preach, that prose of piety, a lukewarm praise? Rise odours sweet from incense uninflamed? Devotion, when lukewarm, is undevout, but when it glows, its heat is struck to heaven. To human hearts her golden harps are strung. High heaven's orchestra chants amen to man. Hear I, or dream I hear, their distant strain, sweet to the soul and tasting strong of heaven, soft wafted on celestial's pity's plume, through the vast spaces of the universe, to cheer me in this melancholy gloom. Oh, when will death, now stingless, like a friend, admit me of their choir? Oh, when will death, this mouldering, old partition wall throw down, give beings one in nature, one abode? O death divine, that givest us to the skies great future, glorious patron of the past and present, when shall I thy shine adore? From nature's continent, immensely wide, immensely blessed, this little isle of life, this dark, incarcerating colony, divides us. Happy day that breaks our chain, that manumits, that calls from exile home, that leads to nature's great metropolis, and readmits us through the guardian hand of elder brothers to our Father's throne, who hears our advocate, and through his wounds beholding man, allows that tender name. 'Tis that makes Christian triumph a command, 'tis that makes joy a duty to the wise, 'tis impious in a good man to be sad. Seest thou, Lorenzo, where hangs all our hope? Touched by the cross we live, or more than die. That touched which touched not angels, more divine than that which touched confusion into form, and darkness into glory, partial touch, ineffably preeminent regard. Sacred to man, and sovereign through the whole, long golden chain of miracles, which hangs from heavens through all duration, and supports in one illustrious and amazing plan thy welfare, nature, and thy God's renown, that touch which charms celestial, heals the soul, diseased, drives pain from guilt, lights life in death, turns earth to heavenly throne transforms the ghastly ruins of the mouldering tomb. Dost ask me when he who died returns how changed? Where then the man of woe? In glory's terrors all the Godhead burns, and all his courts, exhausted by the tide of deities triumphant in his train, leave a stupendous solitude in heaven, replenished with increase of pomp and multitude, a radiant band of angels new, of angels from the tomb. Is this by fancy thrown a remote, and rise dark doubts between the promise and event? I send thee not to volumes for thy cure. Read nature. Nature is a friend to truth. Nature is Christian, preaches to mankind, and bids dead matter aid us in our creed. Hast thou now seen the comet's flaming flight? The illustrious stranger passing, terror sheds on gazing nations, from his fiery train of length enormous, takes his ample round, through depths of ether, coats unnumbered worlds, heaven's mighty cape, and then revisits earth from the long travel of 1,000 years. Thus, at the destined period, shall return he, once on earth, who bids the comet blaze, and, with him, all our triumph over the tomb. Nature is dumb on this important point, or hope precarious in low whisper breathes. Faith speaks aloud, distinct, even adders here, but turn and dart into the dark again. Faith builds a bridge across the gulf of death, to break the shock blind nature cannot shun, and lands fought smoothly on the farther shore. Death's terror is the mountain faith removes, that mountain barrier between man and peace. 'Tis faith disarms destruction, and absolves from every clamorous charge the guiltless tomb. Why disbelieve, Lorenzo? Reason bids all sacred reason hold her sacred still, nor shalt thou want a rival in thy flame. All sacred reason, source and soul of all demanding praise, on earth or earth above. My heart is thine, deep in its inmost folds. Live thou with life, live dearer of the two. Where I, the blessed cross, by fortune stamped on passive nature, before thought was born, my birth's blind bigot, fitted with local zeal, no, reason rebaptized me when adult, weighed truth and false in her impartial scale. My heart became the convert of my head, and made that choice which once was but my fate. On argument alone my faith is built. Reason pursued is faith, and unpursued, where proof invites, 'tis reason, then no more. And such are proof, that or our faith is right, or reason lies, and heaven designed it wrong. Absolve we this? What then is blasphemy? Fond as we are, and justly fond of faith, Reason, we grant, demands our first regard, the mother honoured as the daughter dear. Reason the root, fair faith is but the flower. The fading flower shall die, but reason lives, immortal as her father in the skies. When faith is virtue, reason makes it so. Wrong not the Christian, think not reason yours. 'Tis reason our great master holds so dear. 'Tis reason's injured rights his wrath resents. 'Tis reason's voice obeyed, his glory's crown. To give lost reason life, he poured his own. Believe and show the reason of a man. Believe and taste the pleasure of a God. Believe and look with triumph on the tomb. Through reason's wounds alone thy faith can die, which dying tenfold terror gives to death, and dips in venom his twice mortal sting. Learn hence what honours, what loud paeans due to those who push our antidote aside, those boasted friends to reason and to man, whose fatal love stabs every joy and leaves death's terror heightened gnawing on his heart. These pompous sons of reason idolized and vilified at once, of reason dead, then deified as monarchs were of old. What conduct plans proud laurels on their brow? While love of truth through all their camp resounds, they draw pride's curtain over the noontide ray, spike up their inch of reason on the point of philosophic wit called argument, and then, exulting in their taper, cry, behold the sun, and Indian-like adore. Talk they of morals? O thou bleeding love, thou maker of new morals to mankind, the grand morality is love of thee, as wise as Socrates, if such they were, not will they bate of that sublime renown, as wise as Socrates might justly stand the definition of a modern fool. A Christian is the highest style of man, and is there who the blessed cross wipes off as a foul blot from his dishonoured brow, a foul blot from his dishonoured brow. If angels tremble, 'tis at such a sight. The wretch they quit, desponding of their charge, more struck with grief or wonder, who can tell? Ye sold to sense, ye citizens of earth, for such alone the Christian banner fly. Know ye how wise your choice, how great your gain? Behold the picture of earth's happiest man. He calls his wish, it comes. He sends it back and says he called another. That arrives, meets the same welcome, yet he still calls on, till one calls him who varies not his call, but holds him fast, in chains of darkness bound, till nature dies, and judgment sets him free, a freedom far less welcome than his chain. But grant man happy, grant him happy long, add to life's highest prize her latest hour. That hour, so late, is nimble in approach, that, like a post, comes on in full career. How swift the shuttle flies, that weaves thy shroud! Where is the fable of thy former years? Thrown down the gulf of time, as far from thee as they had never been thine, the day in hand, like a bird, struggling to get loose, is going, scarce now possessed, so suddenly 'tis gone, and each swift moment fled is death advanced by strides as swift. Eternity is all, and whose eternity? Who triumphs there, bathing forever in the font of bliss, forever basking in the deity? Lorenzo, who? Thy conscience shall reply. Oh, give it leave to speak, 'twill speak ere long. Thy leave unasked, Lorenzo, hear it now, while useful its advice, its accent mild, by the great edict, the divine decree. Truth is deposited with man's last hour, an honest hour, and faithful to her trust. Truth, eldest daughter of the deity. Truth of his counsel when he made the worlds, nor less when he shall judge the worlds he made. Though silent long, and sleeping nay so sound, smoothed with errors and oppressed with toys, these heaven or commissioned hour no sooner calls, but from her cavern in the soul's abyss, like him they fable under Aetna wound, the goddess burst in thunder and in flame, loudly convinces and severely pains. Dark demons I discharge, and Hydra flings the keen vibration of bright truth is hell. Just definition, though by schools untaught, ye deaf to truth, peruse this parson page, and trust for once a prophet and a priest. Men may live fools, but fools they cannot die.